What's good, Rich family? It's your boy, the Rich Kid, back again with another tutorial. Today we are doing a mid-skin fade with a crop top, lots of texture up top. This is one of my favorite cuts. Let me know what you guys think. Stay tuned for the video. All right, so we're gonna kick this video off by combing out the client's hair. My client here hasn't had a cut for a little while, so we're just gonna go through and comb this out thoroughly and make sure that everything is laying flat. Now we're gonna start off by debulking, going with clipper over comb, just so I can come back with my supras and get to the actual bulk of the work. Trying to create shape while I'm debulking. There isn't too much precision going on. This is just a rough draft before I get to my fading. I'm jumping in with my supras, and I'm going with the 3.5 blade, which is very much like a 2-guard open. And this is me just debulking, trying to create shape. Now again, I'm going in with some clipper over comb just to have it blend a little bit easier to that 3.5 blade. One thing I wish I would have done just to make my clipper over comb process a little bit easier is actually saturate the client's hair, especially with the fact that his hair is so grown out. The hair is ruffled, and saturating it once again would leave it in a much flatter state. Now we're going in with the bald line, just balding out. And I'm contouring the fade to my client's head. Doing this allows for a little bit more of a custom haircut to where the fade matches the head shape of every client that I'm doing. Meeting in the middle at the back just to make sure that there's symmetry, and then finish out the balding out process. Now moving on to the shavers, I'm just balding out so I get the bottom portion of that fade razor bald. It just adds another transition to the fade, and I find whenever you use that shaver, it really makes that fade pop. One thing is, I'm not going straight to the line. It may look like I am, but I'm flicking out right as I get up to that line so that it's easy for the bald line to be taken out. Now going in with my 1 blade, I'm setting in my second guideline. I'm going up about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch, and I'm going to be doing this all the way around the head. Next guideline is the 1.5 blade with the Andes Supra, and that is my third guideline, again going up about 1 inch to a 1/2 inch. And I'm making sure that I'm following the shape of the previous guideline. Now I'm going in with my last guideline, and this is the 3.5 blade once again, and I'm not really trying to create much of a line here. This is just me trying to blend into the bulk of the hair while creating another transition point. Now once more going in with a little bit of clipper over comb just to make that blending process easier. Like I said, had I saturated the client's hair, I do feel like the process would have been a lot simpler and a lot faster, and I wouldn't have to have used clipper over comb as many times as I did. But at the same time, just being consistent and thorough will get the job done. Now I'm going in with my 2-blade, and this is really just to blend that 1.5 line to that 3.5 line. I like to use my detachables sometimes just to really have a nice, clean, crisp fade. Now I'm going to be attacking that middle line with my Andis Masters with the 0 guard closed. And I'm just going to be flicking out that bottom line. Now I'm just opening up that blade all the way and just blending a little bit more into the top portion of the fade. And as you can see, that middle line is basically completely gone at this point. Now I'm going in with the lever closed, and I'm just going to be nudging out that bottom line. And if you can tell there, all I'm doing is pushing the line and creating a little bit of a line above it. And then each time I do that, I'm going to be pushing the lever up just a little bit. So now I'm going to be going in with my lever fully open and trying to knock out that line that I had just created. And as you can see, that line is basically coming right out. In the back portion, I'm definitely going to have to be doing a little bit more work just to get it to blend. It's usually the more dense portion to anybody's head, right by the O bone. Now I'm just doing a little bit of spot detailing, playing with my lever and taking out any dark spots that I see at the bottom portion of that fade there. And I'm just quickly blending the beard in. My client isn't doing the beard today, but it's good practice not to leave that just with a harsh squared line. Quickly moving to the other side and doing the same thing. And now I'm just saturating the client's hair, making sure that it's completely wet all the way through, but not too wet to the point that water is running down my client's face. Now I'm just combing it into direction before I start cutting. And we're going to be taking vertical sections, starting at the back and moving forward. Now that it's cut, I'm going to be cross-checking while at the same time doing point cutting so that I add a lot of texture to my client's hair. Again, we're going for a crop top, and the key to this type of look is just making sure that there's a lot of texture. Just do the same thing all the way through the head, cross-checking, making sure that the hair is even, but not perfectly even to where it's a blunt cut. And now I'm just doing a little bit of clipper over comb, and that's going to be just that final bit of blending between the top and the bottom. And if you could see, now that the hair is saturated, it is so much easier to get a nice clean cut. And that's why I said it would have been better if we had started off by saturating the client's hair and then doing clipper over comb. Now we're just taking the diffuser and using this to blow dry the client's hair. Just again, adding a lot of texture. This can also be achieved by just using the concentrator on your blow dryer. That's the small nozzle attachment, and using your fingers to kind of rough the hair up. But in this type of scenario, the diffuser is hard to beat. Now we're going in with the thinning shears, and we're just doing a little bit more blending. we're just going to be doing a little bit of palm to palm cutting. And this here is just adding a little bit of layering from the top to the sides of the head. And this is so that when the client doesn't style their hair or just wakes up and walks out, there isn't just a bunch of bulk flopping over to one side. Now we're touching up the fringe area, making sure that it's even. And then we're going to jump to the other side and even that out as well. Now we're just going to quickly line our client up. We're not going to be doing a lineup towards the front hairline, just a little bit on the vertical bars, just to give it a little bit more of a squared and masculine shape. Same thing on the other side. It's kind of like math class. What you do to one side, you do to the other. All right, guys, that's it. Real simple, mid-skin fade with some texture up top. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe.